Hey girlies. Today we follow a womanizer as he transforms into a woman. Enjoy.
Mike was a young guy in his early 20s. He had just completed his specialty training as an industrial welder. Mike was making good money for a guy his age. The sudden influx of money had not made him any more financially responsible. He had used his first salary for the down payment of a brand new truck. He also bought an off-road motorbike, but he had totaled that within 2 weeks of his purchase. Growing up without a mother, Mike did not have a lot of feminine influences in his life. His dad was the caricature of a machismo man. As a result, Mike did not have a lot of respect for women. He saw them as objects to be owned, and did not respect their autonomy. One faithful Friday night, Mike was roaming downtown with his big truck looking for a nice pub. As he drove in his truck, he would listen to loud rap music and holler at the pretty girls he would see on the side of the road. Once he parked his truck, he walked onto the main street and decided to smoke on the street corner. While he smoked, he kept an eye out for women that were passing by. He spotted a group of young women walking in pretty dresses, clearly going to a nearby club to have a little bit of fun. He whistled at them and loudly asked if they wanted to have a good time. Women looked at him with a worried expression and decided to cross the street. "Creep!" one of them exclaimed as they crossed the street. Mike couldn't understand women. They were mysterious creatures to him. Only if he could get in their mind understand them better. Why wear scantily clad clothing if they didn't want his attention? If they wanted a good time, he could have given them a good time. After finishing his cigarette, he decided to walk into a busy pub. He had never been to this pub before, and the place was bustling. He quickly found a spot at the bar and ordered a cold beer. His eyes quickly started scanning the pub. There were many beautiful women in this pub, many to his liking. A lot of them were with other men. A woman standing at the other end of the bar caught his eye. She was staring back at him with a curious expression, her gaze holding a hint of intrigue. As their eyes locked, he felt a sudden urge to approach her. Setting his beer down, he made his way through the crowd, weaving between tables and groups of people until he reached her end of the bar. "Hi there," he said, offering a charming smile as he came to stand beside her. "Mind if I join you?" "Not at all, handsome," she replied. She gestured at the bartender to bring another Jack. "My name's Mike," he replied. Beautiful eyes, by the way, he added. "Well, thank you, Mike. They are my mother's," she replied. "My name is Sapphire," she continued. "That is an intriguing name," replied Mike. "What does a fine lady such as yourself do for a living in this town?" "Oh, I am just looking for a wealthy, handsome husband. What about you, Mike?" "I am an industrial welder. I wouldn't call myself wealthy, but wait until I have my own company." "Is that so? Well, you are definitely handsome. I suppose I can wait for the money to flow in?" she said, looking at him seductively. It was rare that a woman reciprocated his advances. He took a couple of sips from his glass as he kept analyzing her. She was a gorgeous woman, shorter than him just like he liked. She was wearing a beautiful form-fitting dress, and she was well endowed. As he was analyzing her, Mike started to feel weak. His vision was fuzzy, his mind was clouded. Was he drunk already? Normally his body could take much more than this before it was a problem. Sapphire noticed Mike getting more and more tipsy and suggested they move to a more private place. "My apartment is just around the corner," said Sapphire. "Sure, sounds good," he managed to reply, his words slightly slurred. Leaning on Sapphire for support, he followed her out of the pub and down the street towards her apartment. With each step, Mike's head spun more, his legs feeling heavier with each stride. He struggled to maintain his balance, his mind swimming in a haze of confusion and suspicion. As they reached the entrance of Sapphire's building, Mike's vision blurred even further, his consciousness slipping away like sand through his fingers. He tried to fight against it, but the darkness enveloped him, and he collapsed into unconsciousness. When he woke up, he was on a bed, still unable to move. His body felt weak. Mike had never felt something like this before. He noticed that he wasn't wearing his own clothes. What was that? He was wearing woman's clothes. His brain was still cloudy. He could not make sense of anything. "Oh, you are awake, sweetie," replied Sapphire. "That's even better, you can witness the transformation." "What did you do to me?" he exclaimed, unable to speak loudly. "Oh, nothing yet, babe. I was just about to begin," replied Sapphire in an ominous tone. She approached Mike and made him swallow a large pink pill. Mike immediately felt a warmth radiate from his stomach. He started to feel like his world was spinning. He could feel his chest become sensitive and poke through his girly clothing. He felt his ribcage contract, his limbs were shortening. He felt the strength of his arm leave his body. He could also feel something down below. The panties that were uncomfortable on his male body were slowly becoming more comfortable. When it was finally over, Sapphire brought a mirror to the room. A woman stared back in the mirror, a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Sapphire herself. Mike was no longer Mike. He was now Michelle. Confusion and panic flooded Michelle's mind as she struggled to comprehend what had just happened. She reached up to touch her face, feeling the smooth contours and delicate features that were now hers. What did you do to me?" Michelle's voice trembled with fear and disbelief as she turned to Sapphire, her eyes wide with terror. "You were a raging misogynist. You harassed and creeped out women whenever you could. Now you get to walk a mile or two in our shoes. Oh, by the way, I threw away all your male clothes, so you are going to have to walk back to your truck in your current outfit." Michelle could not believe it. This felt like a dream, but she could touch herself and feel herself. The beautiful woman in the mirror was real. She was Michelle now. Michelle picked up her truck keys and threw herself out on the street. As she walked down the main street, she could feel herself being watched. She could understand it, though. She was wearing a crop top that left very little to the imagination, and jean short shorts that also left very little to imagination. As she walked down the street, she could feel her well-endowed chest moving up and down. On the other hand, it felt awkward feeling nothing in her pants as she walked. Her new hips swayed from side to side. As he walked past the pub, he had met Sapphire. An older man whistled at her and asked loudly if she was looking for a man. Michelle felt really scared and creeped out. She was hyper-aware of the fact that she no longer had the strength to fight a man off. It was as if she had something they wanted desperately, and she could no longer fend them off. Once she got to her truck, she had trouble climbing to her seat. Why did she buy this gigantic waste of money? She had only used this for groceries. It felt like her mind was clouded before, and becoming a woman had made her think more clearly. As she drove home, she thought about how she could possibly show up to work on Monday. She had a few sick and vacation days saved up. Maybe she could take a vacation until she figured things out.
Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to follow us on other social media. Enjoy your girly day.